incognito saint.
Okay, so you understand the history of three lifetimes of one soul, who is nothing but like one is the king, his name is Bharata, and second is like he took a birth as a deer, and third life again he take a birth, he become saint, very like enlightened saint. Okay.
By Ishwardas and Bhumipatidas,
Mm.
Srimad Bhagavatam,
You can leave that. You can start from here.
at the request of his father, Rishabdev, an incarnation of the Lord, Bharat was crowned king. He was married to Panchjani, daughter of Vishwarup, with whom he fathered five sons, Sumati,
Another one.
Rashtrabhrit, Sudarshan, Avaran, and Dhumraketu. He strictly practiced religious principles in his rule and his life. His father also taught him to rule his subjects with the affection of a father for his children. And so he was a good king. Bharat performed many sacrifices and chose to offer the results of them to the Supreme Lord, Vasudev, because it pleased Lord Hari, the supreme controller and enjoyer of all sacrifices. His heart was purified and he developed steady and unwavering devotional service to his Lord. For his pure devotion, King Bharat knew the Lord's form to be decorated with Srivatsa, the Kastubh a garland of forest flower, a conch, disc, club, and lotus flower, and she knew that great devotees saw this form in their hearts.
So who would like to read that? I think everyone aware of the first part, what happened, right? And second part, right?
Retiring to the forest. According to Srimad Bhagavatam 5.7.8, Bharat Maharaj ruled for 1000 times 10,000 years, during which time he enjoyed his kingdom and also exhausted the reaction of his past deeds. Then, at the end of his life, he distributed whatever wealth and property he had inherited from his father and grandfather among his sons and went to the forest, settling at Sage Pulha's ashram, a beautiful hermitage sanctified by nearly Gandaki river. King Bharata lived there alone and spent his time worshipping Lord Vasudev with the ashram's flower, tulsi leaves, water, fruits, and roots. His heart was filled with so much love and devotion for the Lord that his material desires were vanquished and he attained bhav, the stage of spiritual ecstasy. Then one day, after bathing in the Gandaki, the king sat down beneath a tree to chant his mantras. He saw a pregnant deer come to the river's edge to drink. A lion rode nearby, and the deer, startled and frightened, tried to leap to the river's opposite bank. As she did so, she had a miscarriage, and the fawn fell into the water. Doe's heart gave out, and she died on the spot. But the king could see the fawn struggling as it was swept away by river's current. The king's heart melted, and he rescued the orphan fawn and took her to his ashram. Bharata raised this fawn with care and often patted her, scratched her neck, and kissed her. He also protected her from jackals and other animals. As the deer grew, he became so absorbed in her care that he gradually gave up his worship. Soon he had fallen from his bhakti path. Shastra tells us we should never neglect this helpless and certainly this sense of duty lived in King Bharata. For the king became so attached to the deer that he thought of her constantly while bathing, eating, walking, sitting, and sleeping. This undue attachment for a person who had given up an opulent kingdom could only be due to some reaction from a past mistake or some sort of offense. One day the king lost sight of now half-grown deer. He was beside himself with grief and worry, and he began to wander the area, calling out the deer's name. But as Providence would have it, the king died while searching for the deer. All his attention focused on her. As he was leaving his body, he could see the deer lamenting for him as she were his own child.
Nice. Okay, this. Do you understand what's happening to the context?
In a new body, life with the sages. Since Bharat died while meditating on the deer, he received the body of deer in his next life. But due to his advanced devotional practices, he was given the blessing of remembering his life as king. Finding himself in this unfortunate circumstance, He repented profusely and thus again became materially detached. He then left the doe who had given birth to him at Kalanjara mountain and returned to the sacred place known as Shalagram, near the ashrams of Pulaha and Pulatsya, and where in his previous birth he had performed his own worship. The area was filled with sages and saintly kings. Saintly king remained alone, and in this dear body, near enough to hear these discourses. He now feared any sort of association that would again drag him back to material consciousness. So he waited for death to free him of the dear body and otherwise avoided association even with other deer.
Okay. One other image.
A saint in disguise. In due course, he gave up the deer body by entering Gandaki. Bharata was liberated from the body of an animal, but not yet liberated from material existence. So he took birth again, this time as the son of the youngest son of an exalted Brahmana, the lineage of Angrisrasa. Again, he was able to remember his past lives, and so he became particularly determined never to fall again into distracting association. He remained constantly absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord's lotus feet, but externally he seemed blind, deaf, dumb, and mad. His affectionate father tried to teach him Brahmanical duties, even performing the sacred thread ceremony, but Bharata intentionally acted as if he could not understand. His father spent 4. Can you scroll up the screen, Prabhuji? I can't see. Thank you. His father spent 4 months trying to teach him to chant the Gayatri Mantra, but Bharata pretended to be a fool. His affectionate father, however, worried about Bharata's future. After some years, the Brahma left his body, and Bharata's mother gave the care of her children to her co-wife, ascending the funeral pyre with her husband. Once Bharata's parents were gone, his step-brothers ignored him, considering him mad. His brothers were not Bhaktas, so they had no way to recognize Bharata's actual spiritual status. And Bharata gave no hint. Whenever low-class fools misbehaved around him, Bharata paid them no heed. When people teased or abused him, Bharata ignored them. He worked without pay or for whatever was given to him by the mercy of his masters. Sometimes he begged enough to keep body and soul together. He remained ever fixed in spiritual consciousness and did not identify with mundane happiness or distress, honor or dishonor. Still, despite the austerity this lifestyle entailed, his body remained strong. Since he slept on the floor and did not bathe off it or rub his skin with oil, he appeared dirty, although his heart was spiritually living. Fools considered him a degraded Brahmana and discarded him. Even though he was insulted, however, he took no heed. His stepbrothers then began to engage him in work in the paddy fields. Whatever pieces of burned rice or mustard cake they gave him to eat, he ate without complaint. Hare Krishna.
Who would like to read the next one?
Saved by greed, one day the leader of a gang of robbers had a lamb they intended to sacrifice to goddess Kali, but somehow the man managed to escape. The leader sent his men out to find a suitable replacement, and finally, in the dead of night, they saw Bharata protecting the paddy field from the animals. The men arrested the innocent Bharata and brought him to their village.
violence against such exalted persons, however, suffered. After this, there was a day when King Raguna of Sindhu and Suvira was being carried on his palanquin to visit Kapila Muni. Although the king had started out with 4 palanquin bearers, one had somehow been unable to perform his duties. So on arrival at the river Ilksumati, the chief palanquin bearer realized he needed another carrier. When he saw Bharata walking along the river bank, and especially how young and strong he was, he pressed him into the king's service. Bharata did not object, but as he walked, he refused to step on the ants along the path. So his gait was uneven, and as he avoided them. As a result, the palanquin was being tipped and jostled. When the king understood that it was the new bearer who was causing the problem, he ordered Bharata to walk properly. Raguna was a pious king, but he was also a passionate Kshatriya, and when Bharata ignored him, he became angry. The king looked down at Bharata, whose inner glow was hidden with the king, and said, "Are you tired? Perhaps you have carried the palanquin too far and need a rest, or maybe you are older than you look, or weaker than the strong man who we thought you were." The king continued to ridicule Bharata for some moments, but Bharata, who did not identify with his gross and subtle bodies, and remained silent, and yet he continued to carry the palanquin as before. When the king continued to be jostling despite his reprimand, he said, "Do you have no intelligence? I am your master. You are disobeying my order. I'll punish you if you don't come to your senses." Bharata then looked at the king with compassion. Bharata then looked at the king with compassion, and to benefit the king, he spoke spiritual truth using the same words the king had just said to him.
Okay. So the story, now we are in this place, exactly. The conversation between the Jada Bharata. The Bharata, now it is called as Jada Bharata. The first life he is called as a King Bharata. Now he became saint. Jada means like who left everything. So like his renounced kind of person, like strong, like a rock. Okay, Jada Bharata. So now Jada Bharata is having conversation with Rahuguna, who is the king for the one province, and like he is just passing through, and like when he is passing, he needs some help, and like like something another way, the Jada Bharata pulled up to the service, and like at the time the conversation happening between the King Rahuguna and as well as Jada Bharata, and King Rahuguna realizing that Jada Bharata is not an ordinary man. He is completely sane. He looks differently like a madman, but he is completely different. He surrendered to him, and he paid obeisances, and he asked for the knowledge. Please explain to me whatever like I didn't understand the ways you talk. You are saying you are not this body, and you are talking very like in higher level. I am unable to understand. Please try to explain to me the real truth. So there we started. Today we are gonna read the verse 5.11.17. Okay. Who would like to read verse? Thank you, Mother.
Bhravatryam enam tad abhadraveryam. Upekshaya dhyetmat apramata. Adhitam Gurur Haris Charanopasannastro. Jahi Vyalikam Swayam Atma Mosam. Bhratvryam enam tad adhabraveryam. Upeksaya adhyethitam aparamata. Gurur Haris Charanopasannastro. Jahi Vyalikam Swayam Atma Mosam. Bhratvryam यद अभद्रवीर्यम् उपेक्षाय अधितम् अप्रामता गुरुर्हरिश्चरणापसनो अस्त्रो जाहि व्यालिकं स्वयं आत्ममोसम्
I think interest of time I would like to go for when we recited twice. Sorry. Say now together.
Bharatyam, the formidable enemy, enam, this mine, that, abhadra viryam, very powerful, upekshaya, by neglecting, adhyatmitam, unnecessarily increased in power, apramata, one who is without illusion, guroho, the spiritual master, hare, of the supreme personality of Godhead, charana, of the lotus feet, upasana astra, applying the weapon of worshipping, jahi, conquered, vyalikam, false, swayam, personally, atma mosam, which covers the constitutional position of the living entity.
Translation together.
This uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. If one neglects it or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and become victorious. Although it is not factual, it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the soul. O King, please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and of the supreme personality of Godhead. Do this with great care.
Okay. Who would like to read purport? Valid? He already read it.
There is one easy weapon with which the mind can be conquered: neglect. The mind is always telling us to do this or that. Therefore, we should be very expert in disobeying the mind's orders. Gradually, the mind should be trying to obey the orders of the soul. It is not that one should obey the orders of the mind. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura used to say that to control the mind, one should beat it with shoes many times, just after awakening and again before going to sleep. In this way, one can control the mind. This is the instruction of all the Shastras. If one does, if one does not do so, one is doomed to follow the dictations of the mind. Another bona fide process is to abide strictly by the orders of the spiritual master and engage in the Lord's service. Then the mind will be automatically controlled. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed Srila Rupa Goswami, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona, Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. When one receives the seed of devotional service by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's real life begins. If one obeys by the order of the spiritual master, by the grace of Krishna, he is freed from service to the mind. Thus,
end of Bhakti Vedanta purport of the 5th chapter or 11th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Jayabharata Instructs King Raghunath. Okay. Okay. So this is really the vast subject, like that I can't explain in one class, not in 45 minutes or 30 minutes. In so many places, in so many places in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and most of the books, like we discuss about this particular thing, controlling the mind. So it's not very easy. Okay. So that doesn't mean that we cannot control mind. We can do it. So many acharyas did it. Okay. So here in this particular verse, Prabhupada is saying that two ways. One is neglect the mind, and second one is like to
Beat it with the shoe.
that is
Follow orders of spiritual master and Krishna.
yeah, that is the second point. Okay. So these are the two main things. Okay. And I'm gonna ask one more question. Bhagavad Gita, okay, so like the verses from the Bhagavad Gita which talks about the mind, controlling mind or the characteristics of mind or something, without what? Without going.
Well, Arjuna says at one point that he can control
The wind.
Hmm?
The wind.
Wind, but not the mind.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Was Chanchalani Mana Krishna.
Only one verse?
Chapter 6.
Is there any other verses that you can recall? No?
There are lots, but now they're not coming to the mind.
There are not. Okay, so I would like to start with. So here we will go to the previous verse. This is slightly related to the previous verse. So we will read this verse translation and we will discuss this little bit about this verse and we will go to next verse. Okay? So so we all can read together.
The soul's designation, the mind, is the cause of all tribulations in the material world. As long as the fact is unknown to the conditioned living entity, he has to accept the miserable condition of a material body and wander within this universe in different positions. Because the mind is affected by disease, lamentation, illusion, attachment, greed, and enmity, it creates bondage and a false sense of intimacy within this material world.
Okay. So the soul's designation, what does it mean? Anyone can say what is the soul's designation?
The soul program.
Hmm?
The soul's program.
Everyone has some designations here. Like she is psychologist. He
That
is
is
team
profession.
leader.
That
As a father, as a mother, as a son, these are all kind of designation. Designation has some role to do. What is the soul's designation?
Mind.
Okay.
How?
So, do you think without this body, soul can do anything?
Yeah.
No, it needs it. As an instrument, it needs it.
It needs it. Okay. This body, there are like the 17 elements made of like jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, and like 5 more elements as well as like the mind and possible. Out of all these, mind is the master. Okay. So the mind, everything is happening. Okay. Whatever you are thinking in your mind, you are doing that. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I have one doubt.
Right.
In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says intelligence is
Intelligence is,
big.
they both are like, this intelligence and mind, these are really like tricky things. Sometimes the intelligence is really like you have that jnana to control this mind, you will elevate. Okay? Sometimes the mind will take over the intelligence. It will say, okay, this is correct, do this. Okay, at the time you will declare. Okay? So that's why intelligence is not part of gross elements, I think so, but I'm not very sure. But intelligence.
Subtle. It's the subtle elements.
Okay. So, yeah. So here the mind is like, who is the controller of everything. That's why we discuss more about mind in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam as well as Chaitanya.
And also, Prabhu, intelligence is something that can be there in some and cannot be there in some.
Yes.
But mind is
Mind is
there with
always-
everyone.
We have everyone there. Okay. So here the soul designation is, what is soul designation?
Mind.
Is the soul designation. So here we have one more verse here. So how many of you can see this?
Zoom in, Prabhu, a little bit more.
Yeah, very good.
if you zoom it, everyone can see it.
Okay. So here, who would like to read this? Asangohi ayam purushaha. What does it mean?
Spirit soul has no connection with the changes of the material body.
So this our space soul is, there is no business in this material. Okay. But because we have connection with this body, okay, so this body has the highest form as a mind. So whatever mind is doing, the spiritual soul is involved with this. So if you are able to control the mind, if you are able to like understand what mind is doing, then like You can control your, like, you can keep your soul in a good way, like what exactly is need to do. Okay. So like we need to know the spirit soul is not related to this material body, material world at all, but it's connected to this body because we need to work on this mind a lot to control this material consequences. Okay. And we are completely in the forest. This particular place is the forest of material environment. Forest means like if you go anywhere, step out from this place, from the temple, you can see everything is related to your senses. Photo names, cosmetics, banners, movies, and everything, whatever you are seeing outside, something which attracts you through your senses. Am I correct? This is all material enjoyment. Whatever you see, this is all because the technology evolved, and like we are completely in the forest of material enjoyment. And like coming out from the forest is not so easy. This technology is very deeply rooted here, and their goal and their purpose is completely engage us in the material things. Okay. So I come up with one video. This video that I have seen is, who knows this social dilemma? Anyone watch it? Yes. You did? Okay. So this is one of the documentary from the Netflix. Okay. When I was in COVID situation, first time I watched it. Okay. It's a very, very beautiful documentary. Everyone must watch once. What we are doing, where we are. Okay. Everyone, please try to spend some time here.
When you go to Google and type in climate change is, you're going to see different results depending on where you live and the particular things that Google knows about your interests.
That's not by accident, that's a design technique. What I want people to know is that everything they're doing online is being watched, is being tracked. Every single action you take is carefully monitored and recorded.
A lot of people think Google's just a search box and Facebook's just a place to see what my friends are doing. What they don't realize is there's entire teams of engineers whose job is to loosen your psychology against you. I was the co-inventor of the Facebook like button, was the president of Pinterest, Google, Twitter, Instagram. There were meaningful changes happening around the world because of these platforms. I think we were naive about the flip side of that coin.
You get rewarded like hearts, likes, thumbs up, and we conflate that with value and we conflate it with truth.
A whole generation is more anxious, more depressed.
I always felt like fundamentally it was a force for good. I don't know if I feel that way anymore.
Facebook discovered that they were able to affect real-world behavior and emotions without ever triggering the user's awareness. They are completely clueless.
Fake news spreads 6 times faster than truths. We're being bombarded with rumors.
If everyone's entitled to their own facts, there's really no need for people to come together. In fact, there's really no need for people to interact.
We have less control over who we are and what we really believe.
If you want to control the population of your country, there has never been a tool as effective as Facebook.
We built these things and we have a responsibility to change it.
The intention could be, how do we make the world better?
If technology creates mass chaos, loneliness, more polarization, more election hacking, more inability to focus on the real issues, we're toast.
This is checkmate on humanity.
I request spend some time on this documentary. This really like we must know what happened outside. Okay. They will say so many tags. One of the tags is if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. You all are like watching social media for free with the internet charge. And their goal is to engage you. They have 3 goals. One is advertisement, engagement, and as well as like one more called money. Okay, so they will make money. They will engage you all the time. If you go outside, everyone is with the phone. Everyone, kids and everyone. How many people they come to you having some traumas and these all things? 100%, 90% related to these things.
I think social media is so bad. Like they say, when you take a drug, when you take cocaine or any of these strong drugs, your hormone levels elevate like a spike. And as soon as the spike comes down, you start feeling depressed and sad again. That's why people take drugs to feel high, right?
Yes.
That's the high with alcohol, with cocaine, with everything. With social media, every like, everything is high, 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 high. So you end up feeling like high, low, that your nervous system gets so negatively impacted that you're constantly feeling anxious. You don't even know why, what's going on. You're like, why didn't that person like my picture? Why didn't this person like my picture? I've seen people who are very successful, come from very good families, and they're like, oh, but that friend didn't like my picture because she's with the other friend. That insecurity and anxiety is unreal when it comes to social media. How many of you are there on social media? Everyone is?
I'm not there.
And by social media, I mean Facebook, Instagram, and all that. Not.
Yeah. So we can have some pros, good purpose to use it, Krishna consciousness, to bring people inside. But we must know that we are monitored each and every second. We are getting monitored each and every second. And there is some algorithms, AI algorithms, where they will engage you. If you see the messages also, you don't need to type. Based on your feelings, they are giving some options. You can just need to press it. Okay. That means they want you to engage with it. You need to understand what's happening here. Okay. So that's why I can say we are in the forest of media world. Okay. Coming out from this is not so easy, especially in this particular age. In this particular age. I can see 90s kids knows, other knows, not your knows. Okay. There is other knows. Okay. So when I went to like, we are kind of like, I born in little small town kind of thing. When I go to my grandfather's house, it's a village, and my grandmother and they only knows, like they didn't read any scriptures, okay, but they know all this like bhakti without like karma and karma yoga and jnana yoga, without karma and jnana, they didn't read anything, but they know songs about all the rasas. When they eat, when they cook, when they do anything, they sing them. And they teach the children. At that time, no technology is there. And like people, the way they grown up in such a way, they have very good ethics and good behavior in the society. Okay, is there inbuilt in their like generation to generation, without knowingly or unknowingly, without any education, people pass on that information. Okay, so this is very important to understand what exactly where we are spending that time right now in this material world. So if you are spending time on anything, that means you are engaging your mind on that particular thing. Make sure that like where you are spending your time, most of the times. Please calculate, please have like the structured routine, like what you are doing. I am gonna come with this more. Okay.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, when he came, he gave a calendar with quotes, right? A desk calendar. So yesterday's quote in his calendar was, whatever memories exist in your mind are because of your past. But whatever memories play in your mind is because of what you're doing today. They can exist, but if today you're not engaging in them, they will not play in your mind. So I was adding on to what you said.
So now we are in a, so this karma, how it works, so from the like, for example, 3 lives ago, 4 lives ago, like you did something and everything you need to face, and like each and everything will come to your room. You don't need to go somewhere, like all the activities that you are doing right now, okay, there is a result, okay. So you need to understand what exactly you are doing right now. With the social media, it's more like, I mean like this mind is engaged in social media means you are distracting more from the actual self-realization, and we are going completely up. Okay. We need to understand what karma we are doing by looking, by watching, by hearing, and everything is connected with your karma. And you need to face result for each and everything as a result. Karma is always with us. Okay. Everything So 14.18. So everyone can read together.
Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets. And those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
Okay. So why did I do this? Like why did I bring this verse here? Okay. So I said about karma. Whatever activities we are doing is because of these three modes. These three modes are connected with each and every activity that we are doing. So we need to understand, we need to do each and every activity in sattvic way, not in mode of passion or mode of ignorance. When you do this activity, based on that, gradually your next life and your actual purpose will be achieved. Okay. So here some of the examples, like in Bhagavad Gita they mentioned, based on the mode of nature, what you are doing, you will go to different places. What you are doing right now, based on that your future you will be. Like you will go other planets based on your activities right now.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
Since Bharat Maharaj had to live 3 lives, he was conscious when he was living as a deer. He did not involve in any kind of transaction. Why could he get liberated in that body? Since that maybe there was an animal body, but consciousness matters or the body matters.
I feel like some services, like you need to go through the higher level through the human body, I think so. It's not possible through the animal body because you cannot directly serve with your hands or your eyes or you cannot recite any mantras.
He wasn't doing any of those activities when he was born as Jadbharat.
Jadabharat is highly consciousness. We cannot imitate the highly conscious people. His first birth, he did everything. Okay, he did everything and he went there and he attached to the deer, unfortunately. And because of that, he need to take birth. Because of his voice activities, he got the remembrance. Krishna is the remembrance. He gave that remembrance when he was a deer.
But consciousness was also there that he did not involve in any further kind of transaction.
Consciousness, what it is?
His consciousness was there, that's why he did not involve in any karmic transaction.
Yes.
The consciousness was very high. He was self-realized in the form of deity. Then again, why did he need to take a birth in human form?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I think it's only possible to the human life. I am not much aware of this, but like this is what I heard from my parents and my gurus. They said like we must have like this all the senses engaging Krishna consciousness. Like that's what they said. So you can ask maybe some devotees and this also Maharaj.
Because when he was born as a Jadbharat, he wasn't doing any of those devotional activities. He was just keeping himself away from everyone. That's what it is shown there. He would go somewhere just to get some money, just to somehow manage his livelihood. But he wasn't doing any of those activities.
He was not doing anything, but he is sharing his knowledge. If you see Rahugana, he is like a madman, and like he used to like eat whatever they have given. Like 3 days food he used to eat, and if there is no food, he used to walk. He is very self-realized, very self-realized, and like he is always thinking about Krishna himself at that moment. Okay, but after that he shared knowledge with Rahugana. He did like teaching work. He became Guru.
That's the only incident that was shared. That too was kind of got arranged. He specifically wasn't trying to do that, but that's how the situations were, and then he ended up doing that. But no, I agree.
I think a lot of devotional service that we do to get to that point, he was at that point. You do devotional to become that sort of person, right? That's where his birth, like he's so aware and he's so conscious. And we do a lot of that to become pure devotee, right? He's born as a pure devotee.
And it mentioned that when he was a king, he was in a bhava stage. So just like one level in devotional service where you stop, you start again from there. You don't start from zero. So you start from bhava, so it's just one step great.
So if you see, this is one more verse, Bhagavad Gita 13.9. of designation of mind, okay, this is only can be like keep us connected with the material world. So to have the control on the mind, we must have a routine. That routine, like if you see in the ashram, we have a routine to engage ourselves with the different activities. Morning, wake up early in the morning, do these activities, you connect with this, do take some time, and again connect. Okay. It's not like you are exerted, it's a marathon, how Vishaka says it's a marathon, but like it's very, very, very important to connect with the God, like having your routine in such a way is very important. Example, in temple it's so easy. In prepare time, like one of the Prabhu was giving class and I heard that like 3:30 they used to have a bell. Okay, they used to ring bell like to wake up everyone, and immediately like one person used to go on turn on the lights and started mopping the. They used to sleep on the floor, and they used to start mopping the floor immediately. Even people are sleeping, they used to mop on their faces like this. Just imagine. Okay, so Vaishashik Prabhu shared this. Okay, so this routine is very, very, very important. Okay, if we don't follow the routine, it's a very high chance that you will fall down. In the day, like he is very highly sick. He has emperor. Like he is like he was emperor, and he is completely has his entire world. He has everything. He has good wife. He has children and everything. He left everything and he elevated to the higher consciousness. He started doing all the activities, spiritual activities, came to one forest, and there he used to experience different things. One time, so like he used to be in very ecstasy. Sometimes, like if you read this Bhagavatam, actually this entire chapter is so beautiful. Everyone must read. Okay. Yesterday I was going through this chapter, and like I don't know why whenever the Vishaka gives class, asked me to give class, then only I read it. Many times. I don't know either I'm not getting time or like I'm just skipping or like I don't know what I'm doing. But like when I read, like I'm highly inspired. Like okay, I need to read it. Please I need to read. This chapter is completely connected with each and every verse. There are like 17 verses. All 17 verses are very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. It's talking about like mind and like each and every layer of the mind, how exactly we need to like control our mind. It's a very beautiful. So here Jad Bharata, I mean like Bharata, after like he moved out from home and he came to forest and like he is experiencing very, very like good things and like he is very close to God realization and like his activities are so pious and he is doing the samskara, I mean like the meditation under the sun for until the sun went like he is doing so many activities, but all of a sudden, he saw one day is just passing, just like drinking water in one stream, and like all of a sudden the lion roared, and immediately out of fear, and he jumped and like gave birth to baby and he died. By seeing that small baby deer, so he mentioned fawn, something I don't know. So small baby deer, and he is kind of like very kind, took her out, he saved her and he gave some water and some grass. And like he started like having association with her. And whenever like he is doing activities, he still continued his all the activities. And like when all the spiritual sadhana, when he is doing like whenever he is doing meditation, when the small deer, if you read, small deer has like it has what is this called? No, like this horns. When the horns are coming up, automatically it's used to come to him. It's used to come to him, and he's used to rub like this on his thigh, and like he used to say, oh. So see, the small affection, the small affection, okay, leads to entire fallen, like you fall.
All it was this motherly love, which is very sacred and pure.
But any attachment is bad.
Any attachment is bad, yeah.
No matter who it's with.
Any attachment that doesn't
He
contain
gave up on
Krishna.
all the material.
Yeah, that's material.
Yeah.
Material attachment.
Everything, even one attachment. Krishna is so blissful. If you have even one attachment, you need to fulfill that attachment. You ask for anything, he will give it to you because you ask it. Not in this birth, maybe further you need to take number of births.
And we're thinking, what is Antariksha Prabhu asking?
Yeah. You need to take number of births to get that thing, and you need to face all the consequences. Like, so Krishna is so like.
I think it's partially.
Hmm?
Like, I feel like at a certain point, like, if you're serving the Lord, there is a point that comes when Krishna gets so involved in your life. Even if you ask something that's not good for you, he will not give it. Like, it won't be like he will give it and then let you suffer. I just think he will not give you. But then the suffering that you will have because Krishna denied is the suffering that's coming from your mind.
True.
I feel like it really depends. Like if it's a small detour,
Yeah.
he'll give you.
Yeah.
But if it's like a major
Yeah.
painful thing,
Yeah. If you are elevating, for example, tomorrow if you are more elevated than today, whatever the desire that you have today, maybe like you may not need them, and Krishna knows that you are elevating. Okay, he will leave them. Okay.
Yeah,
She
and
doesn't need any more. Okay.
yeah, and because you're still in the process of elevating, you will still feel the attachment and pain because he's taking those things away. But then that suffering is because of yourself, and that's not what Krishna is suffering.
can I add something?
Yeah.
From personal experience, you might have a need that is so strong and you think you can't live without it and oh my god, this is everything. Krishna will give you the wisdom and the intelligence to see that this need will not satisfy you. You see it as suffering only when you're so attached in the material thing that this thing will give me everything, right? But if Krishna wants to elevate you, he'll give you the mind and the intelligence to be like, no, this is not where bliss is. Bliss is here with Krishna.
Yeah, so if you still stay fixated on that, oh, I need this, then that suffering is not coming from Krishna. But like, it's not like he's like, okay, you suffer now, you feel this, and that's when you will learn.
But then that suffering means you've not surrendered to Krishna.
Yeah, that's coming from yourself.
Yes.
That's the point. Krishna is not torturing you.
No.
And
How can he torture?
One more thing, your soul has a memory. Like whatever things that you asked for, everything is stored in like one level. It's there. That vasanas comes until like you left this world. Till end of like human life or like until you reach Goloka, all the vasanas will be there. Whatever you desire for, everything will be stored there. Either you are provoking it up or not, that is your wish. But it's there. It's there with you. Okay. Whatever desire you ask for, everything is there. Okay. If you provoke in that particular life, you will fulfill it. Again, you need to take work. Do it. Okay. But it's there. But 100% is there.
I was saying that because sometimes they say that you should not ask anything from Krishna because let him give whatever he wants to give. But I'm like, if I'm not going to ask for Krishna, then who am I going to ask for? I'm not going to go to demigods for asking, oh, I need this, because I have my father, like my friend, who can provide everything, so I will approach him. Now it's on him if he wants to.
There's this one Sanskrit sentence that I read. I can't remember the reference, but I can give it to you. It said that whatever you ask for Krishna, ask. But in the end, the little saying is, Jehi vidhi hoye nath hit mora. Only give me anything if it's good for me and it brings me closer to you. I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, give him that leeway that you decide, but I have this wish, and even if you want to kill this wish, please do it.
I will also take chance, one chance to appreciate Punja and Shanti Mataji. Staying here and doing practice is so easy. But outside, being outside, coming every day and doing activities in such a way, it's not so easy.
I know it's not us, it's them. when I was driving the car in a very example way, I was going to a lot of other places.
Yeah.
When Radha Krishna started driving the car with Guru, they bring it here. So if it is left to me even one day, I don't know how regular it will be, but because they have control, it happens. So zero credit to me, 100% credit to them.
But people may think like, even one day if you don't come, people are very shanky, very shanky, very shanky. So like, that's 100% like, you are part of family, like you are almost like every day. Even Mondays and Tuesdays, sometimes we compromise ourselves, but like you are always there. So he used to come from Etibo. So like, this 2 hours almost like he used to wake up around like 4 to reach out here, like without car anything. He used to travel 1.5 hours. And because of some reasons, I will give like how dedicated he is. Because of some reasons, he is not allowed to come to temple for 1 week. Okay, he cannot take darshan. But he used to come until the door and he used to hand over prasad to Vedantma to give it to Krishna. So like Krishna is like, where is my snack? Okay, see, that's a pure love. Okay, like coming here, like until I cannot take darshan, but I want to do something to Krishna. At least coming from that far, like being, I don't know even if I go out, like I can be that much dedicated, like coming every day to the temple with my busy schedule and other things. But like you people are making it, and like that's I really appreciate. You are saying something good?
No.
Hmm?
I was just trying to take
Any other? Okay, 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left.
1 minute.
Which 5 minutes?
Okay, I will show you one. I will just show you one small thing.
Sure. There may be a way that you miss here or there.
To a point where you get virakti.
I don't care how long you can nice, but you know, point taken, it's there in the Shastra, and you worship mundane. Yeah, yeah. And the surface is some reciprocation.
Sometimes the very fact that we're doing it without actually doing it can be an impetus because you get frustrated. You get angry with yourself, and you get to a point where you get virakti. You're frustrated. If your life owns you so much, you cannot do the thing your heart wants to do because you're obliged to do 100 other things. You slowly develop a distaste for the other 100 things that you're doing because the 2 things that you want to do don't taste good to you anymore.
Yeah, powerful realization.
So I just like spoke from this particular lesson. This is by Vaishashi Prabhu, 5.11.16, 17. Just if you have a time, just watch it. It's a very beautiful class. I just covered like just 3 to 4%. That's it. So whatever he covered, I covered just 2 to 4%. And like he did it, he talked a lot about it. And like we must just go through this lecture once.